You want to know how people get lied to? Actually, that's what I said. This was going to feed into the misinformation. This is how people get lied to and duped in real time. Look at this crabople. This is crap. This is, I will not go into the tirade yet again of Justin Trudeau subsidizing the media, buying off Canadian media, Radio-Canada, CBC to the tune of $1 billion a year. Just on time, man. Buying off CBC, Radio-Canada so that they are nothing more than the propaganda arm of the Liberal government. They are Canada's Pravda. They came from me. I want to pretend I did that on purpose because it would have been a perfectly timed joke, but I'm an idiot. I'm your idiot, but I just took myself out of my own stream. Okay. Oh, now I got to bring back up the article. That discussion is over. You will not be discussing the Pravda division of the Canadian government's arm. Majority of Canadians. Here we go. This exhibit is over. The government has bought off the CBC and Radio-Canada. They operate on government-subsidized monies. They're not going to bite the hand that pays them. And that was a mixed metaphor on purpose. He bought off the rest of the media, Justin Trudeau, with a $600 million bailout. He bought off the rest of the media a second time with COVID ads, with government advertising, taxpayer dollars spent on these flailing garbage institutions, keeping them afloat. The media works for the government in Canada. It is Canadian Pravda. That might make for a good name for a book. Okay. Setting that aside, the Globe and Mail has... Oh, sorry. Let me get this chat out of here. The Globe and Mail has come out with a study. Majority of Canadians... Let me get my golfer's voice on. Hold on. Majority of Canadians comfortable or somewhat comfortable with Liberal NDP power sharing deal poll. Let me read that to you 5 times. The majority of Canadians comfortable or somewhat comfortable with Liberal NDP power sharing deal poll. Majority, I'm going to do it one more time. They are either comfortable, don't know what that means, or somewhat comfortable. And I don't even know what that means. Comfortable or somewhat comfortable. Now, bear in mind, people, before we get into the polling mechanism, the lies, the manipulation, how you're told what to think under the pretext of being led to believe that this is how other people think. If you have 100 people and one of them says, I'm comfortable with something, and 99 say, I'm somewhat comfortable with something, you can legitimately say, if you want to lie through truth, majority. Let me rephrase this. Majority. Yep, that would be accurate. One person says, I'm comfortable. 99 say, I'm somewhat comfortable. You can say majority of people are comfortable, even though there's only one of them, or somewhat comfortable, even though there were 99 of them. It is how you lie in real time through stats and through polling. If you had 75 of the 100 say we're comfortable with the deal, you know damn well that header would have said majority of Canadians comfortable with the power sharing deal. So what you can probably deduce from this is that the majority of the people were not comfortable, but were somewhat comfortable with the power sharing deal, which is the New Democrat Party through Jagmeet Singh coalitioning with the Liberal government to form an effective majority government, thus staving off elections until 2025, when, by some accounts, Jagmeet Singh would benefit for that word when you have worked somewhere for long enough, pension. But everyone should understand this. If it were 51 of the 100 who were comfortable with the power sharing deal, the header would have said majority comfortable. So you know that actually more than 50 are actually somewhat comfortable, and you don't know if it's 99. It's a lie. It's a lie. But wait until you even get to the methodology of the poll. Here we go. Nearly 60% of Canadians were comfortable or somewhat comfortable. Oh, and by the way, do we now really appreciate the degree to which we're being lied? lied to? Just remember everything I just said 2 seconds ago. 90. If 100 people said we are comfortable or somewhat comfortable, but 99 said somewhat comfortable, the headline could have said comfortable or somewhat. 100 people are comfortable or somewhat comfortable. Now we're finding out that of the 100, it was actually only 60 of the 100 who said they were comfortable or somewhat comfortable, which will probably lead you to conclude that it was over 31 of the 60 who were only somewhat comfortable with it. So therefore, you can now deduce that 71% of the country are actually somewhat uncomfortable with this power sharing deal. But listen to this. Nearly 60% of Canadians were comfortable or somewhat comfortable with a deal that could see the federal NDP prop up the minority Liberal government until 2025, survey says. Survey says! Oh, yeah. Brings back memories of childhood where I used to fake being sick so I could stay back and watch The Price is Right and Family Feud with my mother. The NDP agreed to the arrangement in exchange for parliamentary cooperation and progress on key new democratic policies, such as dental care, pharmacare, housing, climate change, and Indigenous reconciliation. Yada, yada, yada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the deal in March, saying it will allow the government to function with predictability and stability. Well, we've got predictability of the government. We can predict it's going to be corrupt, incompetent, and disastrous for Canadians. But listen to this, fellow frysters. Frysters sounds too much like shysters, which I don't think I like. But we might have to live with it. A nanos, by the way, Google Nanos research poll commissioned by the Globe and Mail. So now you have the Globe and Mail, which is funded by the federal government or bailed out by the federal government, commissioning a poll which is going to prop up the very Liberal government that is subsidizing their activities. Found that 39% of Canadians were comfortable, 19% were somewhat comfortable, 11% were somewhat uncomfortable, and 29% were uncomfortable. So that's nearly half of Canadians are uncomfortable with the deal. I mean, phrasing is everything. The majority of Canadians are comfortable or somewhat comfortable. Nearly half of Canadians are somewhat or uncomfortable. And by the way, when someone says they're somewhat comfortable, it means they're partially uncomfortable as well. I'll get to my funny tweet, but hold on. It gets even better. Chief data scientist Nick Nanos said the poll is indicative of election fatigue, especially as Canadians recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, deal with rising costs of living and interest rates, and fear a potential recession. Okay, by the way, screw that. Skip over all that. The Nanos Research Random Survey, conducted between May 26th and May 30th, polled 1,001 Canadians by phone and online. It has a margin error of plus or minus. You know what? It has a margin error of about guaranteed. It's so insanely outlandish. You poll 1,001 Canadians by phone. I don't know anybody who has a phone anymore. And then you come out and say that the majority of Canadians are comfortable or somewhat comfortable, when in fact 40%, 41% say they are somewhat uncomfortable or uncomfortable, and that other one, somewhat comfortable, I don't know how you even measure that, means that they're partially uncomfortable. So the majority of Canadians are somewhat uncomfortable or worse with the deal. But but go ahead, Nanos. It confirms what you wanted it to say. It confirmed. People are fatigued. They want to avoid another election. People are fatigued. Tell us what to think, Nanos. But I have to get to my joke, because my joke is good. Here we go. I have to get to my joke. I was somewhat comfortable during my colonoscopy. That said, I was mostly greatly uncomfortable and still felt violated. With that said, I am sure Justin Trudeau and the Jagmeet Singh are very comfortable with the framing of this bogus poll question. And the ratio on that poll, are we seeing this? The ratio on that poll. Let's just see how far down we have to go to find my response. I don't know how this works. Should a popular response not be higher up? 86 retweets on the response, which said, where did it just go? I just lost it. Whatever. Yeah, 86, somewhat comfortable. Why don't you use more fluffy, ambiguous terminology for a poll, you government-subsidized propagandists? It's a joke. I mean, it's beyond a joke, actually. because it's so damn destructive. They're burning down the country in real time, and they're trying to tell us it's fine. Enjoy the heat. Get your marshmallows out.